Very welcome, everyone. Today I will give a little bit of a talk. So what are we going to talk about today? So I think there's a lot of engineering talks today on languages, interfaces, integrations, AI. And this is maybe a little bit of a different part, Knap's IT transformation, making us ready for the future. So who am I? I'm Krista. I'm the CIO of Knap, been so for the last year, and been working always on the edge of business and IT. So I hope to understand enough of both. And we are really driving towards a new landscape for Knap, based on the latest insights and how we actually want to grow our business to the future. So what are we going to do? Because an IT transformation can never be only about IT. It has to be grounded in the business ambition of what we want to achieve. We are not a software delivery company, we are a bank. And as a bank, we have to make sure that we are present for our customers. In our case, that's the self-employed and the small entrepreneurs, where we really want to be their bank for both their retail needs and their business needs. So our product portfolio, and also then, of course, the IT support for that, will be centered around those groups. But it took us a while to get there. And that's also why transformation is needed, because I think many companies are talking about moving to the cloud, moving to a more different landscape, or changing. Change is constant, right? But why is it needed for us? We are a new bank. We started in 2010 with a great idea. There were three guys. They were thinking like, okay, we just had the financial crisis. How are we going to be a different bank? How are we going to do things differently? Really from a customer perspective, not that much from a technology perspective, but really, okay, how are we going to do banking right for customers? And that actually led to a start in 2012, which started our initial growth and experimentation phase, if you will. And along the way, we actually found our sweet spot with the self-employed and the entrepreneurs. So how is it that we can service them? Do they want advice? Do they want just core banking? Do they want mortgages, whatever? And we've experimented a lot, but that also led to quite some choices in our IT landscape, really following those search to what is our main sweet spot for our customers. I think in 2018, somewhere around that, that's never a fixed date, we actually found our sweet spot. Okay, we are the bank for self-employed, we want to grow into entrepreneurs, and we are really, in the heart, a bank, not a financial service provider in the broadest sense, a bank, and we will partner with other parties to deliver all the products that our entrepreneurs might need. And that's where we also start to think about renewing our landscape to really start that growth. And so we started with 0 customers in 2012. Currently, we have about 500,000 across 2 propositions. So that was quite a nice growth path, but that also asked something of your initial IT setup. So we are currently changing the heart of our bank. So our CRM system, our payment platform, our core banking system. So it's basically an open heart surgery while we are awake. And then also we are still running with everything that we need to do. And because we want to be that future bank for all entrepreneurs in the Netherlands. So we have quite an ambition to get to. So what do we then need from IT? And that's, again, it's about the customer experience. Predictability, high quality, easy to use, fast delivery of new services. And so we have to make sure that we can adapt to whatever is asked from us from a legislative perspective, but also what is helping an entrepreneur. We started with self-employed, but self-employed people, they grow also. They grow their business, they become BVs, they become complex BVs. Their wishes also change, so we have to change with them and make sure that that's also being supported by our landscape. So we're transforming, as I already said. And what are we then going to do? And this is very mainstream, so there's nothing very fancy on this slide. I think this can count for every company in the world, pretty much every bank, but also for us. We want less technical complexity, more decoupled, faster innovation, scalable architecture, Regulation is always a pain. If you're a bank, you have a lot of regulation coming your way, and that takes up a lot of time that we actually want to spend on our customers. Can we make that easier? And then, of course, we always hope to save costs. So I think this is no rocket science, but again, they are important guiding principles to see, okay, if we go from here and we want to go to there, what actually should we make sure that we deliver? With the customer in mind, we have to make sure that we deliver on these kind of guiding principles, as you will. And we are doing that basically, well, depending on which slides I show you, 3, 5, or 6 tracks, because there's more detail in every audience. But basically, we started last year to prepare and do some standalone upgrades. And so we upgraded our web stack from AngularJS to Angular towards a new platform. We did a debit MasterCard migration. In itself, going from Maestro cards that you usually have if you're banking in the Netherlands to a debit MasterCard is not necessarily an IT transformation. It's a business process that changed. Also, MasterCard saying to us, fine, you want to do Maestro, but that's not possible anymore. But still, it is impacting all the systems that we're using, and it's a moment to think of, okay, if we have to do this change from a business perspective, how can we already reach our objectives in terms of our IT ambition? So that's why we took it in stride and actually said, like, okay, we really want to make sure that we do these things and that it helps us in our transformation to also make things easier. So that's where we've been focusing on, and then also preparing the main tracks. So the CRM monolith, I'm calling it, because officially we had a CRM system, but we've put some extra stuff in there. We are actually taking services out of it, making it lighter. I think even this week we launched one of our major deliveries towards our device binding services to really make sure that we can do that in a new way. And I see someone smiling here on the front because she's responsible for it. And as we speak, even from the conference, checking how many customers we have migrated to the new system. So thank you for that. So we're taking that out of that monolithic system. We took some of the payment processing out. We are taking the documents already out. So really phasing, emptying that CRM monolith. And then in the next couple of months, we're really going to see how are we going to transfer 350,000 customers with all their CRM data from one to the other, which will be a SaaS solution. Because basically, where it's a standard functionality, we will move to a SaaS solution where it's very customer specific, where we think, yeah, but this is something that really is important for us as a bank, for our customer target groups, for our entrepreneurs. Then we can make it ourselves. We can build it ourselves, develop it in our domain layers, and really see, okay, this is where we stand out from the crowd. But when it's standard, like CRM, I'm not going to build it myself. Well, I'm not building anything anyway, but I'm not letting the team building it itself. We're going to the standard solutions. So in a couple of months, we hope to have the CRM migration done. And then afterwards, we are actually going into the major migration to complete the landscape. And we are already preparing that. So we are changing our payment platform. And so all payments are processed. We are currently doing that in, again, a monolithic fashion. We are bringing that out to a standalone platform. So that really helps us to connect where we need it, when we need it. Also to some SaaS and outsourcing solutions. And we are doing the core bank migration. And not everyone here will have a banking background. So what is the core bank? I've already mentioned it. It's basically the system that logs all transaction data. So if you make a payment, it will be logged somewhere like, okay, I spent €4 on a coffee here, and it will show up in your app. You will be debited, and everything is registered. That is a system that is at the heart of the bank. It will go into our general ledger. It will show you forever what you have done. It is very important for us to keep track of that, because otherwise we cannot keep track of your money. And if a bank isn't able to keep track of your money, we're in big trouble. So in that sense, this is going to be a major one, also in terms of volume. Because where CRM is already 350,000 customers, payments and accounts is 350,000 customers and their full history of the last 12 years of every payment that they have made. So this is something that we have to prepare also very closely with our auditors, for instance, and in a migration that is really controlled. Also here we are going to go to a full standalone SaaS platform that is dedicated to managing these accounts and transactions. And with that, with the CRM, with the payments, with the accounts, with the digital signing and everything around orchestration, our own domain services, we've really created a landscape, I hope in 1.5 years, no pressure to the team, that will allow us to have the best of breed of those different components working together to keep delivering the service that we currently have as Knap and hopefully improve it and keep improving it in the future. But as I said, it's quite complex to do this. So maybe now move away a little bit of what we're doing it and how we are doing it. Because I think in these kind of programs, it's always a bit of bridging the need for the likes of me as CIO to have a bit of control and have planning and have focus towards the agile way of working that we actually also promote in the teams, right? Where you want to deliver on your sprint, where you want to deliver on your quarter, but maybe it's harder to look ahead in the next quarter for the next year or so. But I think so it begins with the vision. It begins with this story. Why are we doing this? Why is it important? It's important for our customers. It's important for our ambitions. So having that overarching approach also like, okay, what are the main components and how are they dependent on each other? And then we have a business and IT vision that actually give a co-urgency. Because also within Knap, this is known as the IT transformation, but basically it's a business transformation. If the business is not on board, if we're not also talking about how are we designing our processes, how are we serving our customers, then it will be garbage in, garbage out. So it will not work. So in that sense, we really have to drive this together, and I believe we are, but we can always improve. But from then on, we do have to have a plan with an approach, step by step, what are we going to do? But then the people have to do it. And there it sometimes becomes quite difficult, of course. This is not an easy task. It's always unraveling what is there. But again, I believe in the cross-functional teams between business and IT. So we have Scrum teams with developers, testers, customer journey experts, business POs that also understands the IT POs that also understand business. Depends a little bit on how you look at them. So really to understand what needs to be done. And then, of course, this is very easy to put on a slide. Ensure the teams that they can focus on the work. And I'm just looking here at some colleagues of mine. I know that this is very hard. This is also for us not always working out. There are so many things putting on us. What I already said, we are a highly regulated bank. Things are moving. We are still open for business. So making those prioritization explicit, if we are going into the next month, that will be really the main task that we have ahead of us. Making sure that we work on the right stuff at the right time and still deliver on everything that we want to do. But it's always easy to stay in these conferences to say like, yeah, we're very good at it, etc. This is the hardest thing to get right. And I think I've not worked in any company that had the best planning, the best portfolio management, the best PI planning days. It is always a struggle, but I think that we have the openness to actually say, okay guys, this is not working because that is going wrong if we do this, or we don't have enough capacity, we need more people. And as long as we have that open conversation, we will fix this. And that's because we also, I would like to say, like, we need the guidance. And that circles back to the first point with the IT vision, having that common goal, but also that collaborative work environment. Again, bringing people together and really see what's in it for me. And this is, in a transformation, also quite difficult because you're going from this to that. There will always be teams, individuals that for them, the change is harder because there is no upside for them. The job may change. If you are an expert in the existing systems, it might be hard for you to envision yourself working with the new. There's new systems. There's new people, new thinking coming in. So there's a lot of insecurity that we have to discuss again with each other. And I think that the only success that we can have is not if we actually have one system in place and the other, but that we've also taken along everyone that is working on it. And not everyone will necessarily be always in favor, but if we do it together, then I think we at least have not only succeeded in the migration, but also have a workforce and have a team that's actually ready to run this. And I think that is also for Knap very important. We are bringing a lot to our SaaS providers, making sure that they take over regulation responsibilities, that they are taking over some of the hosting and responsibilities. That was the word I was looking for. But then again, we are also bringing that into our own domain layer. We are still building our own software also to connect it all together. So we are also bringing that responsibility to ourselves. And only if we have that full landscape working, then we will be successful. And I'm really looking forward to it. I think I went quite quickly through my presentation again, as I usually do. So this is already the end. So I hope that at least I've been able to share a little bit of the journey that we're on. We also have a stand over there. We have a lot of colleagues here, so if you have questions, you can always come by, talk to them. We're always willing to share, and have a good day. Thank you.